voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Friday, May 18th, 2018. Thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday. We have a lot to talk about. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Mike is in our control room, ready to answer the phone, put you on the air with your comments and questions. And yes, the lovely Lady Claire will be joining us in hour number 3. Getting right on into it, you've probably already heard this. It's all over the corporate media. Just days after there was an attempted school shooting that was stopped cold by an armed guard, which didn't get a lot of coverage on the corporate media, I might add. There's been another spectacular shooting at Santa Fe High School in Texas. 10 people are dead, 9 students, 1 adult, 10 more are wounded. And of course, they're out there pumping this up, and the gun grabbers are having orgasms. The suspect is a 17-year-old student, Dimitrios Pagurtsis, and the police are also saying bombs were found in the area. And this Dimitrios doesn't really fit the pattern of somebody who's going to do something like this. At one point, he was an honors student. He played junior varsity football and apparently was a good member of the team. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's posting these pictures on social media with guns and knives and for some reason a frog, and started wearing clothes, born to kill. He had this sort of a trench coat covered with Soviet and Nazi regalia. And then all of a sudden this morning, he walks into an art class with a shotgun and started shooting. And to me, again, the question I want to ask, was this kid put on prescription antidepressants? He came from a good family. There doesn't seem to be any reasons why he would be driven to this other than chemicals messing with his brain. Apparently, the shooter also wore an Antifa gang logo. So something just happened to this guy, and to me, we have to point the finger of blame at prescription antidepressants. And of course, the gun grabbers will say, no, it's the fault of those assault weapons. Well, sorry, you're wrong. In this case, it was a shotgun that was being used. And apparently he had a shotgun and a .38 pistol, both of which belonged to his father. And I don't want to jump to conclusions here. I would hope that the father was locking the guns up. Maybe Dimitrios figured out how to pick the lock, or he got a copy of the key. But again, this kid went from being a child that any parent would be proud of to this horror in a shockingly short amount of time. I want to know what medications this kid was on. And unfortunately, the corporate media won't report on that. Law enforcement won't release that information anymore because there has been a clear pattern of these mass shootings involving perpetrators who are either on or withdrawing from prescription antidepressants. Now, going on over to Israel, the furor over what they did on Monday is continuing to build. It's not going away anytime soon. And even Israel is coming to understand they have created a public relations nightmare for themselves. The Arab League is demanding an international probe into Israel's crimes against the Palestinians. and there are thousands of people protesting all over the world about this. Now, the Arab League is also developing a plan to counter Jerusalem recognition as the capital of Israel. They're going to employ diplomacy, economic pressure, whatever, to simply say, no, Jerusalem is not the capital of Israel, Tel Aviv is. Tel Aviv has been the capital of Israel for the last 70 years. There's no real reason to move it other than religious fanaticism. And the Arab League is saying they'll have the plan ready in about 2 weeks' time. Now, the United Nations, despite the U.S. veto in the Security Council, the United Nations Human Rights Council has voted to investigate the Israeli response to the protest that resulted in so many Palestinians being killed and wounded. And they're going to investigate that illegal expanding ammunition that was used. The UN rights chief is saying that Israel's Gaza response was wholly disproportionate, directly contradicting Nikki Haley, who said that Israel showed great restraint. And of course, the good news is Nikki Haley does not get a veto over the United Nations Human Rights Council. So that will be moving forward. Turkey is vowing to bring Israel to the International Criminal Courts over the Gaza carnage. Tel Aviv is out there saying Ankara will be there long before Israel ever is. Because Israel is above international law. Don't you understand that? Article out of Counterpunch. How long will we pretend Palestinians aren't people? And they're talking about just this horrific massacre that took place on Monday. They describe it as monstrous, frightful, wicked, and the words just run out of the Middle East today. 60 Palestinians shot dead in one day. 2,400 wounded, more than half by live fire. This supposedly, from what Netanyahu likes to claim, is the most moral army in the world. It would be a disgrace for any army to act like this. Now, we're going to do a shout out to our on-air affiliates who are just now rejoining the network. And there has to be a response to this. There has to be a response. If it's 60 Palestinians dead in a day this week and nothing happens, it could be 600 next week or 6,000 next month. If we accept a massacre on this scale, where will it end? All right, we're going to take a phone call here. Pete in Florida. Aloha. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. Obviously, I wanted to talk about today's shooting, but I'm going to go ahead and flip it and talk about what's going on over there in Israel and Palestine first. And I would say, you tell me the HRC is actually non-binding, though, right?
Yeah, they make recommendations to the Security Council and the General Assembly. But basically, where this war is being fought on out is in the world of public relations and public image. And Israel is losing badly.
It's not losing badly enough, though, Mike. I don't know.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I want to say that all Jews are anti-Semites, and I'm going to go ahead and contextualize it and say it. Every Jew who believes they're a Zionist, and I've heard Jews tell me every Jew is a Zionist. They're all against the Palestinians, who are the original Hebrews. So they're all anti-Semites. Okay, so all Jews are anti-Semites. Let's start off with that one.
Well, for the sake of argument, I don't like the phrase "all Jews are blah," but for the sake of argument, go ahead and finish your thought.
No, that's it, man. That's how simple I like to keep it. I mean,
okay.
Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. The Palestinians are Semitic people, and even without going through the issue of their lineage, Israel is acting in a very anti-Semitic way by putting these people in this giant open-air prison. I actually got a very angry letter from a supporter of Israel saying that only Israelites who speak Hebrew are Semites and everybody else is an Arab. And I wrote back and I said, well, the Arabs are Semites as well, because the origin of the term Semite means descendants of Shem, Noah's son, after the ark came to rest. And I know we're getting into biblical mythology here, but that's the original definition of a Semite. And it's all the Middle Eastern people.
Yes, indeed. And the whole point is what you just said.
Yeah. You know, Israel's trying to co-opt the term to where they're the only Semites and everybody else, you know, is an evil Arab. And that's the foundation for the claim that criticism of the government of Israel represents anti-Semitism, which obviously I disagree with that.
Yeah, you had a conversation with somebody a couple days ago, or maybe even yesterday, about it wasn't the fact that Israelis were actually religious, or the fact that Judaism was religion. Crap, man, I wish I could remember that right now. But you know, the problem with the Jews is they say, well, maybe Judaism is not religion, maybe it's an ethnicity. Because I've heard that too, that Judaism,
yeah, they flip back and forth. They flip back and forth from, you know, Judaism is a religion, Jews merely follow a religion, to this claim that there is a Jewish genetic fingerprint. But the reality is that the Jewish people tend to be the descendants of people who were converted to Judaism in the distant past. The Ashkenazi were converted Khazars. The Sephardic were converted, another one of the Middle Eastern people, I forget what it was, Berbers, converted Berbers. So they came from all the different races in the region, and they converted to Judaism. It is a religion, not a race.
Fair enough. Now I want to talk about today's yet another mass shooting here. And the first thing when I think about mass shooting, I think about you and some of the other alt media superstars, and wonder, was this person on antidepressants for one? And it's fascinating to listen to this governor talk about the multitudes of law enforcement that showed up, of course, after the fact.
Yes.
That's fascinating to me that all these guys show up with all the weaponry. I'm like, holy crap, dude. You probably can't even buy half the weapons that these guys are walking around with. One CNN clip that keeps running around, this guy strapped with a sidearm on his thigh. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? You're not John Wayne, okay? Well, but I will tell you this, Mike. What really bothers me is that that roll that keeps clipping around about them taking the 15 or 20 kids out into the yard, making them pour out everything that's in their backpacks, and then this fat bodies. And I'm not kidding about how fat these cops are, going and then doing the search on them, frisking them. I'm like, if you guys are talking about going and getting search warrants for these trailer parks that they keep showing here, why aren't you getting search warrants for all the kids that you're unnecessarily traumatizing?
Well, it's a valid point, but when you're at the scene of a crime, I don't know Florida, or rather Texas law, but I think the issue is that if you're at an actual crime scene, warrants are no longer needed. And I could be wrong on that. Maybe somebody in Texas will call in and clarify that. But at this point, we know that the entire government is just disdainful of the Bill of Rights. And they may pay lip service to it in the Constitution. But look what's been going on around Donald Trump with these national security letters to get around judges, getting FISA warrants with completely fraudulent information. The U.S. government is openly contemptuous of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They'd like to find a way or a justification to just shred it. They've shredded the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. The Second Amendment is clearly under attack. Now the First Amendment is under attack, starting in South Carolina, where they want to start carving out exceptions to freedom of speech. Yes, you have freedom of speech, except for when it comes to Israel. You can't criticize them. Then it will be next, you can't criticize vaccine makers. And then it'll be you can't criticize or doubt GMOs. And this story floating around where the Senate is actually looking at a bill that would authorize the president to just lock up anybody who disagreed with the war policy.
Yeah, it's horrible. I mean, what I want to hear from you, my friend, no disrespect, with all due respect, out of one side of your mouth, you say, I'm going to take the Gandhi approach on the Second Amendment. And out of the other side of your mouth, you say, the Second Amendment is just for what it means to be about putting down tyrannical government employees. I mean, Mike, at what point? I mean, because we all like to say, "Oh, we're Second Amendment advocates." I love it because I told you before, I'm a military veteran. I'm totally Second Amendment advocate. I'm totally the first through the original 13th Amendments. I am totally about everybody, lay people, interpreting the way they're originally read, not the way lawyers, especially the Supreme Court lawyers, like to read them, and especially with the Second Amendment. Where are you, my friend, with at what point do we just say to heck with it? I mean, at what point do we actually initiate the Second Amendment? I mean, that's what I'm getting at.
Well, we don't need to initiate the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is simply a recognition of our natural right to self-defense. And I've been making it clear all along, I'm opposed to any kind of a violent revolution in this country. I don't think the American people are ready for it. A lot of the wrong people will get killed in it. I still think that this government is heading for a Soviet Union-style collapse, and that we just need to be patient and wait for that. Now, it may surprise you to know that Gandhi was actually a strong supporter of the right to keep and bear arms. He thought all the people of India ought to have the right to have firearms.
Well, I didn't know that, sir, so thank you for yet another glistening gleam of intellect, and I will go ahead and leave you that, my friend. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to switch over to Dustin in New Jersey. Aloha, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
And Mike, I have to disagree with the last caller. Not all Jews hate Palestinians. There's Jews protesting against, sure, it might be a small amount, but also the ultra-Orthodox don't believe in Israel at all, Mike.
Yeah, I know that. I was just about to get into some of that right now.
Yeah, because I live in the town next to me. Yeah, it's a huge ultra-Orthodox, and yeah, they don't. I talk to them all the time. They don't believe in Israel at all. So you can't throw everybody into one group. You can't go there, because that just leads to more friction and this or that. But hey, Mike, the school shooting, some might be staged. Obviously, some are real, but it's not just a drug addiction problem or psychotropic drug, but it's also our culture. Look at what our government's doing around the world.
True.
Yeah.
They're setting the example. You want something, bomb and shoot the people. People don't do what you tell them to do, shoot them. They are setting the example. A violent government is breeding a violent population.
Mike, if you heard of The Onion, it's like is it a magazine or a newspaper, tabloid type of, on the internet, The Onion. They had a thing if you can go on Jimmy Dore YouTube, and it's the newest video. If you watch it real quick on break, like it's a satire on what the Israeli snipers are, like that 8-month-old girl. She was, she scared me, so I had to, they do a satire. So The Onion's even going after Israel.
Well, The Onion is a satire site. That's all they do, and some of the stuff they do is brilliant. And I did see that video earlier today.
Mike, that sniper scared the crap out of me the way he looks.
Yes.
Geez. I mean, and Mike, I want to switch gears real quick again. If I still got time to talk about Angela Merkel's Putin gave her flowers, because remember they met a while ago that he had a dog. She don't like dogs, and probably she don't like kids either, right?
Well, unless they're refugee kids. She loves the refugee kids.
But did you notice, Mike, though, Germany and France, they're both saying, it's up to the companies. It's up to the companies if they want to have sanctions on the companies can take the hit depending on what company. The country themselves aren't going to worry about it. It's up to the companies, to if they want to deal with the sanctions or not.
Actually, the European Union, as of today, is protecting all the European companies from any U.S. sanctions. They're simply saying we're not going to go along with this. What Trump has done by pulling out of the Iran deal is drive a big wedge between the EU and the U.S.
And that's a good thing, because now
it may
showing
be.
He gave them the opportunity, Mike, to grow some spine.
I think it's starting to happen. We're seeing it in Poland. We're seeing it in Hungary. We're seeing it a little bit in Great Britain, although Theresa May's spine seems to be softening again. Anyway, listen, Dustin, I got to let you go. We got to do a break for commercials, and we'll be back with another phone call.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Okay, looks like we lost sound. Okay, Mike, are you there? Okay, for some reason I'm not hearing the signal from RBN to me, and I have not heard back from Mike in the control room. So I'm going to start talking here and hope that something is going to happen. Let's see. We get some sound back. Let's see here. Wonderful tech here. All right, I have no idea what's going on with RBN at this point. Mike, if you're there, if I can't hear the phone call. All right, so let's get on to this idea about how Jewish people are responding to what happened on Monday, because Dustin is absolutely correct. Not all of the world's Jewish people are fully on board with what happened. Now, a lot of the people in Israel, they want to show support for their government. The government keeps them in a constant state of fear that the Palestinians are coming to kill them. Here in the United States, it's very different. A lot of American Jews have just pulled back from this. Now, you need to understand it is a tenet of the Jewish faith that you never criticize another Jew. That's actually built into the religion. So no matter how badly they behave, like Harvey Weinstein, you don't say anything about it. Okay, I'm going to take a moment here and try and call RBN and see what's going on. Looks like RBN went off. I'm not getting an answer.